Sam Harris is a deeply influential thinker on the left, and he's saying openly what a lot of people, even in the media, think. That, okay, it's a conspiracy. So what? A conspiracy to stop Donald Trump from getting elected. A conspiracy to undermine democracy, to save democracy, is acceptable, according to Sam Harris, this well-regarded philosopher of the left. It didn't matter what was on Hunter Biden's laptop. Nothing could be worse than in what Donald Trump was doing. Never mind the prostitutes, the crack, the trading on his dad's influence to get business in China, Ukraine, and the like. Nope, nothing was as bad as Trump. Trump is so bad, it's worth it to concoct a conspiracy to subvert the First Amendment, to cover up the Hunter Biden stuff, so no one can hear about it until after the election in order to stop Trump from becoming president. He said it. It's out in the open. Now, it's not just him. I read you this tweet the other day from Edward Luce. Edward Luce was the Washington bureau chief of the Financial Times. He's now a columnist there and also one of the associate editors. And he said, I've covered extremism and violent ideologies around the world over my career, have never come across a political force more nihilistic, dangerous, and contemptible than today's Republicans. Nothing close. General Michael Hayden, who was in charge of the CIA, has replied and said, I agree, and I was the CIA director. What he is suggesting, of course, by saying I was the CIA director, is that the Republican Party is more dangerous and contemptible than the Communist Chinese. That the Republicans are more dangerous and contemptible than ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Iran. They really do hate us. They really do hate us. When you have an intellectual weight on the left like Sam Harris saying a conspiracy to subvert democracy in order to save democracy is fine. When you have the former head of the CIA, who, by the way, said the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. He put his name on that letter. And he says the Republicans are a more dangerous and contemptible political force than anything else on the planet. When you have the associate editor of the Financial Times say that as well, you really do get a sense that these people really do hate you. It's not that they disagree with you. I have for a very long time cautioned a lot of people that the other side are your political opponents. They're not your enemy. But these people really do believe you are the enemy. I don't think they are the enemy. But they clearly now have the potential to become an enemy of democracy, don't they? Because here's the thing. If you really do believe that the Republicans are a, quote, political force more nihilistic, dangerous, and contemptible than any other political force on the planet, you will do anything to keep them from power, won't you? This is where we are headed. And this is why this is so dangerous. Because you now have people on the left openly saying upending democracy to protect democracy is fine. You now have people on the left saying Republicans are worse than anything else on the planet. From the Taliban to Al-Qaeda to ISIS to Iran to the communist Chinese who are running concentration camps in their own country, the Republicans are worse. When you have members of the press openly saying that, we have a real problem. We've got a real problem. And you can understand why people on the right are rapidly moving towards their own authoritarian. I mean, because listen, if you've got these people openly now saying we've got to essentially stop democracy to protect it, They're the authoritarians. They're the authoritarians. They're the ones who are openly now saying a conspiracy to stop someone is worth it to save democracy. Advancing a bunch of lies, all the people, misinformation, disinformation, it's bad. The people who are willing to say, let's concoct a conspiracy of things that are not true in order to stop someone we don't like from taking power. You're undermining the very integrity of the system, and you're happy about it. You've justified it. When you have no God and you are accountable to no king in heaven, it becomes very easy for the ends to justify the means. It becomes very easy indeed for the ends to justify the means. And that's what's happening here with these people on the left. Now, I got to tell you something some of you are not going to like to hear. Turnabout is not okay. Do to them what you want them to do to you. Beat them fair and square. And that's possible, beating them fair and square. Now, they'll never accept it, and it'll infuriate them privately. And that's what actually makes it even more fun. Go beat them fair and square. If you beat the left fair and square, then suddenly they have to realize that, oh my gosh, a majority of people in the United States actually agree with these people who I hate. And then they start to get even more mad. And then they start to lash out even more inexplicably. And then even more of the nation turns on them. Beat them fair and square. And it essentially, like the Proverbs say, doing something kind to someone who hates you pours heaping ashes and coals on them. You beat them fair and square. Don't play their game. Don't you engage in the conspiracies. Don't you engage in the willful distortions. Don't you engage in the efforts to undermine democracy to save democracy like they say they want to do. And you beat them fair and square through the democratic processes, and they see that a majority of the country actually agrees with us. That's going to be profoundly morally destabilizing to them. It's going to break them further. And as they get more unhinged because of it, that draws even more people to us. Look at all of the white progressives who are fleeing the GOP, headed to the Democratic Party. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And the opposite reaction is that Hispanic and black people do not want to be in the Democratic Party with a bunch of rich, white, progressive atheists. They're looking at these people. The most obnoxious people on the planet are rich, white, progressive atheists. Have you ever met one of these people? I'm trying not to call them Karen. I'm trying. Karen out there, don't send me hate mail. I'm trying not to do it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. These are some of the most obnoxious people on busybodies on planet Earth. And black and Hispanic people, they want nothing to do with these people in the Democratic Party. They're moving to the GOP. Did you know that in Miami, Florida, the generic ballot disposition went from 35% Democrat in 2010 to 9% Democrat in 2020? From 30 to 9. From usually 35 to 9. Why? Because rich white people have moved to Florida from New York City. The natives are like, my gosh, that's what the Democratic Party is? Trump was right. And they've started voting Republican. You got a bunch of people who hate your guts. Beat them fair and square, they'll hate you even more. And then they'll start lashing out on all the other people they've claimed to like. And those people will finally see what bigots and racists they really are. And the Democratic Party will collapse in on itself, not because we cheated, but because they could not overcome their hate for their fellow countrymen.